Here in the United States of America, we have a constitution. It's supposed to assure our laws are free of any bias or favoritism. The forefathers did not use Christianity as the guide to forming our government. They clearly believed that religion, all religions, should be kept separate from our system of government. They also included freedom of speech as a right afforded to all citizens. The government should not be allowed to dictate the opinion or expression of ideas. The forefathers, when founding our country, included many ideas and concepts others found offensive, yet they did not allow that to quiet their voices or to undermine their cause. Although our system is not perfect, it has allowed our country to grow into the strongest the planet has ever known. We are afforded freedoms that others only dream of. Our citizens are allowed to express themselves without fear of being put in prison or put to death. Every so often, these freedoms are questioned or taken away, sometimes by men who fought to assure those very freedoms. If you allow a religion to pry its way into our justice system, the result will rarely be equal protection. Our justice should remain blind, and for good reason. Once it allows even the smallest bias, it ceases to become justice and becomes persecution. Sharia law differs from the laws of the United States in that it includes religion as its base. This has been shown to result in unfair and inhumane punishment for crimes that were never committed or actions which come natural to us as human beings. Any attempt to include this warped justice into our existing laws must be stopped. If we do not, our justice system could become infected with the religious overtones our founding fathers worked so hard to avoid and steal away our freedoms that citizens have fought and died to protect. The following is a recording of court proceedings in Pennsylvania regarding a man who was wearing a zombie Muhammad costume during a Halloween parade and was attacked by a Muslim. The Muslim man felt he needed to protect his prophet and attacked the man wearing the costume. The guilt or innocence of the attacker, while important, is not the main focus here. The main focus is on the judge's words when he issues his ruling.
Well, having had the benefit of having spent over 2.5 years in predominantly Muslim country, I think I know a little bit about the faith of Islam that I've been praying here, and I would challenge you, sir, to show me where it says in the Quran that Muhammad arose and walked among the dead. He misinterpreted a couple of things. So before you start mocking somebody else's religion, I want to find out a little bit more about it. It kind of makes it look like a doofus. And Mr. Thomas is correct. In many other Muslim-speaking countries, many Arabic-speaking countries, predominantly Muslim, something like this is definitely against the law there in their society. In fact, it could be punished by death. It frequently is in their society. Here in our society, we have a constitution that gives us many rights, specifically First Amendment rights. It's unfortunate that some people use the First Amendment to deliberately provoke others. I don't think that's what our forefathers had really intended. I think our forefathers intended that we use the First Amendment so that we can speak with our mind, not to piss off other people, other cultures, which is what you did. I don't think you're aware, sir. There's a big difference between how Americans practice Christianity. I understand you're an atheist. But see, Islam is not just religion, it's their culture. Their culture is their very essence, their very being. They pray 5 times a day towards Mecca. To be a good Muslim, before you die, you have to make a pilgrimage to Mecca, unless you're otherwise told you cannot because you're too ill, too utterly whatever, but you must make the attempt. The greetings. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam. May God be with you. Whenever it is very common in their language, when they're speaking to each other, it's very common for them to say, Allah willing, this will happen. They are so immersed in it. And what you've done is you completely trashed their essence, their being. They find it very, very, very offensive. I'm not Muslim. I find it offensive. person on the other side was very offensive. But you have that right, but you're way outside your bounds. First Amendment rights. This is what, and I spent about 7.5 million years altogether living in other countries. When we go to other countries, it's not uncommon for people to refer to us as ugly Americans. This is why we are referred to as ugly Americans. Because we're so concerned about our own rights, we don't care about other people's rights. As long as we get our say, but we don't care about the other people's say. All that aside, I've got here basically, I don't want to say key such and such, I've got two sides of the story that are in conflict with each other. I understand, and I've been in a Halloween parade, I understand how noisy it can be, how difficult it is to get a pulpit. I can't believe that if there was this kind of conflict going on in the middle of the street, somebody didn't step forward sooner to try and intervene, that the police officer on the bicycle didn't stop and say, hey, let's break this up. You put your hand down, sir. You're not a witness. The preponderance, the burden of proof is that the defendant, it must be proven that the defendant did with the intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person. The Commonwealth, whether it's conflict or not, and yes, he should be putting your hands on you. I don't know, I have your story that he did, and his story that he did not. But another part of the element, as Mr. Thomas said, was the defendant's intent to harass, annoy, or alarm? Or was it his intent to try and have the offensive situation negated? If his intent was to harass, annoy, or alarm, I think there would have been a little bit more of an altercation, something more substantial as far as testimony going on if there was a conflict. Because there is not, it is not proven to me beyond a reasonable doubt that this defendant is guilty of harassment. Therefore, I'm going to dismiss the charge.